Call the meeting of November 21st, 2023 of the Wickenburg Unified School District Governing Board regular meeting. If you'll stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Oops, let me start this thing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Can I get an adoption of the agenda?
Sure, I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda for November 21st, 2023 as submitted.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, recognitions and proclamations. Any, Randy?
Yeah, I did. I know we've knew it for a while, but today I guess there was a presentation or celebration for the Hacienda with the A letter grade today, and so just congratulate the school and staff for their efforts working and getting that A letter grade for the school.
Excellent. Okay. Sandy?
Nothing right now, thanks.
Okay. Susan?
Yeah, I was going to reiterate congratulations to Hacienda for their A rating, and thank you to the Little Red Schoolhouse for having the symphony today at the Web Center, and invited all the students in the area, so that was a lot of fun. I got to be there for that. And then I wanted to congratulate all of our minors football players because they won their championship. So these are 9 to 11-year-olds, and they won the Northern Arizona Football League championship. So that's really amazing. And my 9-year-old was one of them, so that was really fun. And the cheerleaders also did really well. The Mighty Mice cheerleaders got, I think, 3rd place at their competition, and the Miners cheerleaders got 2nd place at their competition. So that was a lot of fun. And the Wrangler Majors got 4th place in the league this year. So that was our 12 to 14-year-olds.
Okay. I'd just like to acknowledge and congratulate our cross-country runners that got to go to the, I guess, this championship a couple weeks ago. So, okay, Joe.
He's on mute.
Hello. Joe, you there? Okay, we'll just move on. Dr. Medini.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Alexander and members of the board. I too want to congratulate Hacienda and recognize their A grade from ADE. It was a really fun party at Hacienda today, and I think the kids did a glow dance party, but I left. And I want to thank Vice Mayor Christy Henson and Councilmember B.G. Bratcher, who came and celebrated with us, and Stephanie Fornoff from the Web Center came. So it was a big celebration. So congratulations to the students and the staff of Hacienda. And I do want to congratulate the entire school district, all of our teachers, all of our students. Overall, our district received a letter grade of a B. And we do have some work to do in some of our schools, but we're proud of the progress that we're making around the district. And Ishmael McNeil, our football coach, was named the AIA Region 3A Football Coach of the Year. Mm-hmm. And that's a big deal. You might recall that our team last year got the Sportsmanship Award. So they're doing good things at the football team up there, so we're very proud of them. We had 5 members make the all-region first team, and we had 6 members of our football team make the all-region second team. So we have some good things going on up there. And then I want to wish all of our student, staff, and community a happy Thanksgiving. We're looking forward to a 4-day weekend.
Okay. Now, Susan Webster. we'll give a presentation on the law conference. That's it, too.
Mhm.
Are we gonna show it or no?
I think, Jeremy, is it going to be presented on the screen in here? Uh-oh.
I just got a text.
Oh.
sorry. Back up.
Yeah, it's up there. The clickers.
Joe, you back?
I'll go to the podium.
Okay, you kind of broke it. He's broken up real bad.
Do the clicker, but hey.
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, I got kicked out of your meeting a little while ago. I was talking away and nobody could hear me.
Yeah, okay.
You can hear me now, though? I mean, is it better?
Yes, you're clear right now.
It's on.
Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. What I was trying to do is weigh in on that recognition. I wanted to, one thing that I really recognized from the principal reports and Facebook is the turnout that they had for Love Our School Day. I want to make mention to all our staff that did come out, and the parents, guardians, students, and everybody that was there to help. I mean, I think it was a great turnout, and they always get so much accomplished. So besides everything else that was reiterated, I just wanted to give that in there. So thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Over to you, Susan.
Okay. So I went to the ASBA Law Conference this year, and for those of you who don't know, I've been on the board this is my 7th year on the board, and I've never gone to the law conference before. So it was a new experience, and I just wanted to kind of give an update to the board of the things that, you know, I thought were great about the conference, and just a general update. So it's a 2-day conference, and then the 3rd day is actually when all of the boards in the state of Arizona get together to vote on the legislative agenda for the coming year. So the first 2 days were conference, I don't even know what you call them. Sessions, yeah, there you go. And we had a keynote every morning. So the keynote on the first day was called Finding Common Ground, and it was Dr. Pedro Noguera, and he works for, I'm gonna mess this up, and I didn't bring my documentation. I think it's, I know, I can't remember. Okay, we'll just pretend that I know that. So the whole speech was about finding common ground and the different things that we can focus on in our school districts to help to help our students achieve more. So really, one of the big things that I got out of the information for the school board was to look at what does your school's data show, what are the patterns, and do the backgrounds of your students predict who will be successful. And that is really how you find common ground in order to help introduce change in your districts. And there were a lot of really cool things about it. For the board members, I did include the presentation that they gave us in our executive session notes for Casey. So if you guys wanted to look through his whole presentation, you can. One of the big things I got out of it is that Arizona demographics for 60 plus and 0 to 19 will be the same as they are now in 2030. So those areas of our demographics aren't going to change. So how do we take what we know about those demographics and apply them to our education system? The other big thing was the groups with the highest birth rates are also the poorest. That's not going to change. So again, how can you use those predictive outcomes to help your students achieve more? So there were a lot of different things that he went over. One of these that Barbara and I actually discussed, this was one of the big things he went over, was equality versus equity versus the reality. And how do we eliminate barriers into learning? And so while Barbara and I don't necessarily always agree with this slide itself, this is the reality in a lot of different places. And so I wanted to just share it with our school board because, you can see the difference between equality versus equity versus the reality. Some kids do actually have multiple tiers up on others when they begin their educational careers. And so how do we remove those barriers for all students? If I can get the button to work. Maybe not. It was just working.
Not working.
Not working now.
There you go. Whoop, you had it.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
This was another slide we went over. My slideshow is not equally the same. Community schools can mitigate the effects of poverty, and the 4 pillars. I'm not going to go into detail on that one. There's a lot that we can go over, but what can school boards do? And one of the big things that I got out of it was, what can we do as a school board? And one of those things is coming up with strategy to address the non-academic needs of students. So this is something that we as a board don't get a lot of time to actually talk to each other about things that we can actually make a difference in because of another thing I'll talk about in the slideshow. But coming up with those strategies will help. Also, the second part of day 1, I went to the Rural Alliance, which is a meeting of, well, really anyone who's a member of ASBA can be a part of the Rural Alliance, but the goal of the Rural Alliance is really to help the school districts that are in rural areas to overcome those barriers that we have. You know, Wickenburg is a unique place. We talk about that a lot. When Howard was here, he talked about that a whole lot, how Wickenburg is so unique because of our location, but also our demographics and all of those other pieces. So one of the things that we talked about, the biggest problems facing rural school districts, Sandy and I at the summer conference talked about the same thing. So we brought it up again with the Rural Alliance to try to figure out ways for us to band together as rural school districts to help make a difference. Teacher recruitment and retention is really one of the biggest in all of these different school districts, one of the biggest problems. And some of the solutions that we discussed as different boards were the 4-day work week, building a loyal and effective program, so incentivizing a monetary program for classified support and teachers. Williams Unified does that. I know we do it for certified staff, is that right? So that was one of the things that came up. Williams does it for classified support and certified staff. Mainstreaming the buildings, ground, and transportation individuals to get up to 40 hours a week and raise the wage. They also offer paying for CDLs so they can do both or all. Again, this was one of the other school districts that was there. This part of the Rural Alliance is already doing this, so it's just one of the ideas that came up. Grow your own, so looking for teachers that live in Bisbee and work with the city. So this was one of the Bisbee ideas that they actually have already implemented. So Step Up Bisbee takes care of homes in disrepair. They fix them up. The city offers them to employees of the city, the school, school districts, et cetera, and then they help them get financing. So again, another idea that will help with recruitment and retention that I wanted to share with the rest of the board. Any board members can join the Rural Alliance. Well, any boards can join the Rural Alliance, but since we're in a rural area, it can be helpful to talk to other people going through some of the same issues that we are. And they are planning to have more meetings over the year on Zoom to try to work towards these common goals. Okay. So one of the big things that I got a lot out of was talking about board member speech and social media. So how do we as a board communicate? Most of you know that we as a board don't communicate outside of board meetings. It's one of the laws for a board. So what speech is protected for board members? Any speech on matters of public concern in a board meeting. Refraining from speaking, so that's protected. You can choose not to speak. Expressing views on issues of policy, so anything related to school district policy is protected speech for a board member, and discussion of government affairs. Unprotected speech We have fighting words, obscenity, libel, slander, defamation, threats, matters of private concern, self-interested communications, and purely private grievances and words that breach a duty of confidentiality. One of the problems we don't have as a board, but some other boards do have those problems, those are not protected speech. So we can't do things like that and be legally bound. Board member social media. So this was one of the things that came up. Open meeting law is still in effect in social media. So a meeting is a gathering in person or through technological devices of a quorum of a public body at which they discuss, propose, or take legal action, including deliberations. So this means that we as a board, if we choose more than, 2 of us, so if there are 3 or more of us communicating in a social media platform, then that is considered quorum and it's considered a board meeting and then is public as the law permits. So we have to be cautious too as board members as to what we do or say on social media. One of the things that we talked about in this particular session was that a school board member violated the 1A rights of 2 parents when they deleted and hid their comments and blocked them from posts. So they were an admin of a social media public community forum online, and when some parents were repeating the same critical comments over and over again, they deleted and hid their comments from the post. That was proven to, it's still pending, but when a school board member has a social media page discussing matters concerning district business and invites the public to comment, they're creating a constitutionally protected free speech forum from which they cannot block or remove comments or posters they disagree with. So this is just something to keep in mind as a board, that if you're going to speak in a public forum, it becomes a public forum for free speech. So there's a list of best practices here. In general, when we talk about what, as board members, the common thing I found about it is just don't speak on social media in public forums, and you don't have to worry about doing anything against the law. So that's pretty much what I got out of it. And we know in our community that we do get a lot of public posts, and it's hard as a board when you feel like you want to help the community understand what's going on. But again, we don't want to say anything that could be used against us in a court of law. Day 2, items of note. So the speaker of the day for the keynote on day 2 was Michelle Borba. She spoke about Thrivers, the unique factors that help kids thrive in school. Another thing I want to talk about is Stump the Lawyer, which was quite funny, and then AI, GPT-4, and LLMs, which I'll explain what all that is. So Thrivers, Michelle Borba wrote a book. It's a science-backed guide that helps parents and educators teach the essential character strengths that kids need to become Thrivers. One of the things that she sold her book. You read the book, right, Barbara?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can. A lot of districts were talking about using it as a book study. I haven't read that book. I actually bought a book of hers about. It was a parent guide, and I've been reading that, and that was really great information as well. But she defines Thrivers as young people who flourish in a rapidly changing, digitally driven, and uncertain world. And the strengths that she goes by, there's essential traits of Thrivers. So self-confidence, empathy, self-control, integrity, curiosity, perseverance, and optimism. Again, she went over a lot of different techniques that you can use to help increase your Thrivers in the community. This was one of the examples that she gave that I thought was really cool. So surveying hot spots, so cold places versus hot places, finding those gatherings that can either be overwhelming for some students or not the right place to be, where you don't have adults, and putting adults there as visibility. And then having reporting boxes. So she named a specific example, SNAP, students need assistance and praise. This was a way for students to actually report on things going on around the school where other students might need help, or praising others. Each character strength that she went over has opportunities for schools to change the way in which they are currently doing things in order to benefit the kids' overall well-being. Overall, she was a great speaker. There was a lot of great information. You know, how do we make a difference? So one of the things that she talked about was this kid who was going through a really tough time. His father had died. He was really depressed, and then he had to go to this really big new school. And he turned that around with the help of the school, and became the door opener. So every day he would be the one to open the door for kids as they went into school, and kids just started talking to him, and that just opened him up, and it just made a difference in his life, and he became the person that everybody wanted to see every day versus the kid hiding and depressed. So there were just a lot of different things that we can do as part of this book, and I would love to see this book done as a study for the school. I just think it was a great, lots of great information. And I know that you guys are already doing some of the things that she talked about.
Yes.
So, Stump the Lawyer was a session where they actually had lawyers up on stage, and Ben Hufford, our district attorney, was up there as the moderator, and he told a lot of jokes that were really funny. And if you know Ben or you've ever met him, I'd never met him in person, only talked to him over the phone. So then meeting him in person, he's quite the character. But it gave the opportunity for board members to ask questions that pertain to each district and get a lawyer's direct response on the legality of whatever it is they were questioning. The good thing about it is I got to hear what was going on in other school districts, and a lot of the questions actually didn't even pertain to us at all. There was nothing really that I felt like, oh, that's good to know, because a lot of districts are facing a lot worse things than we are. So that was great. So to get to the meat and potatoes, my favorite part of this presentation was I attended a session about AI. So ChatGPT is becoming more and more popular. And, you know, if you haven't heard of ChatGPT, you know, think about, what does AI mean to you? So most people watch movies about robots taking over the earth and they get afraid. But there are positive scenarios and solutions when it comes to technology. You all know that I'm a nerd and that's what I do for a living. So I love to be able to talk about technology with my board members. So it's really about finding the right balance of learning from ourselves and helping the next generation figure out the right way to use technology in a meaningful way. So ChatGPT is Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. So it's a large language model, an LLM, for those of you that don't know what that means. An LLM uses massive amounts of data to learn billions of parameters during training and consuming large computational resources during their training and operation. So basically it's a really long, really huge amount of data, and they learn from that data to help answer questions. So this type of data is so large that our human brain would take months, maybe years, to be able to sort through it. What ChatGPT is it's developed by OpenAI, so it's open source AI technology. It enables users to refine and steer a conversation towards a desired length, format, style, level of detail, and language. Have you guys used ChatGPT or anything like it? Do you know what it is? Yeah.
I do now.
So these were some of the examples they gave us, and I thought this was really cool, and I can't actually see this on my paper, but I'll read it up here. So a teacher replied that 1st through 6th buddies have used DALL-E 2, so that's another form of an LLM, to design imaginary habitats, including the mythical creatures who live there. We discussed the language of effective prompts, the types of visual art styles available, and the feasibility relationship to real habitats. So this is using AI in a positive way to affect students, and this was 1st through 6th graders. This one, pre-AI, I had my students write reports. Now I have ChatGPT write reports, then ask the students to critique them, examine sources, and suggest additional improvements. The students are developing critical analytic skills and actually learning more about the topics. So again, this is a positive way. If you haven't used an AI tool like this, you literally can type in any sort of question and it will give you a response based on this large language model, so the results that are found. This is just a list they gave us of potential teacher prompts. Give me 10 question prompts to assess students' understanding of animal adaptations. So again, you can ask ChatGPT anything, it will give you options to use. It's not perfect. I work in technology. We have our developers use AI predictive tools to write code. It doesn't write the code for them, but it does give them pieces that they then have to adapt. So I know there's a lot of confusion about what AI is, but it really can be a good tool to use as in school districts for teachers, students, everyone. It's really just finding the right way to use it. So my last and very fun slide is I used ChatGPT to write a poem about our school district. I said, write a poem about the Wickenburg Unified School District in Wickenburg, Arizona. And this is what it said. In the heart of Arizona's sunlit land, where desert winds sweep o'er the golden sand, there lies a district steadfast and bright, Wickenburg Unified, a beacon of light. Amidst the cacti and mesquite trees, where the sunsets paint the evening breeze, a haven for knowledge, a place to grow, in Wickenburg's spirit begins to show. In classrooms where eager minds ignite, teachers kindle curiosity's light. Through corridors where friendships bloom, in the Wickenburg Unified, futures loom. The campus echoes with laughter and cheer as students chase dreams without a fear. From the youngest minds to those nearly grown, in Wickenburg's embrace, potentials are sown. Beneath the azure Arizona sky, where hopes and aspirations reach up high, the Wickenburg Unified, a guiding star, guides young minds no matter how near or far. Through lessons learned in every book, in every corner and quiet nook, wisdom flows like Hacienpa's dream, in the Wickenburg district like a vivid dream. Sports fields echo with cheer so loud as teams adorned in purple stand proud. From wrestling mats to the basketball court, Wickenburg's unity is a powerful fort. In Wickenburg, a community thrives, nurturing talents, passions, and lives. The districts embrace a comforting song in this educational journey where one belongs. As seasons change and years swiftly pass, may Wickenburg united forever amass knowledge, courage, friendships so true in the heart of Arizona where dreams renew.
That's pretty cool.
It's really awesome.
Yeah,
So
you did a great job of writing that.
Yeah, thanks. I worked really hard on that poem.
Yes.
But it's really cool. That's all I asked it, and that's what it gave. So
Wow.
that's it for my presentation. It was a lot. It was a fun week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
Just one statement. I don't know if anybody seen the email that came out from Charlotte Patterson today, this morning, about that rural
Rural
caucus
Alliance,
breakout.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And it did come out with quite a good long list of all the teacher retention stuff, that we've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did not see in there, and I know I've seen it on TV in the last month or so, was Chino Valley that is working on an plotted area or acreage near
Yeah, the
high school.
teacherages.
And Chino Valley is going to put in tiny homes or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, one of their board members was sitting next to me at the vote, and we talked about that.
Yeah, but I did not see their name on there.
I don't think she was at the rural caucus, to be honest.
But I know we've talked about, something in near our schools.
There was another email from, I don't remember who it was now, but like a couple of days, 2 or 3 days ago, that gave us a breakdown, a summary write-up of the Rural Alliance, but it wasn't that woman. There was another one, and I can't think of her name. I don't have the email up right now.
Are you guys all well, you are, because you got the email. Are you on the Rural
I
Alliance?
thought I signed up
you
for it
signed
when
up
we
too.
were up there.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are you are, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I'll send you the link. They sent us the link to sign up, so I
Okay.
can send it to you.
I thought I did it at one of the annual conferences, but I don't recall. Okay. The only other question, you in that piece there, you talked about hot spots and cold spots.
Mm-hmm.
Can you expand on that just a little bit?
Yeah, so like hotspots are like areas where lots of negative activity happens in the schools.
Okay.
So I don't know, Barbara might be able to better explain than I did, but yeah.
Underneath the bleachers is probably a hot spot. That might be a place we need more supervision.
Yeah.
And then obviously the cafeteria, we usually are in there with large numbers of people. So
Okay.
my guess is the principals know the hot spots and the cold spots on their campuses. So, but yeah,
Okay.
being aware
Got
of
it.
them because they change, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So the cold spot then is where positive activity occurs. Okay. Charlotte, I just got it up. Charlotte Patterson was the other woman.
That's
that
the
wrote.
name I said. Yeah.
Huh?
That was Charlotte. I said
Oh,
Charlotte
okay.
Patterson. Yeah.
Well, Lisa Irish sent one too. So anyway, all right. Any other questions? Joe, you okay?
I would just like to, can you hear me, Ron?
Yes.
Hey, I just wanted to thank Susan for being our delegate and for doing a fine job on the presentation tonight. Really appreciate it, Susan.
Thanks, Jeff.
The only thing is those extra slides, all that other stuff in there. It went in our.
It's in there now, and Casey has the other presentations that I included that's got everything that I
Okay.
just pulled like bits and pieces from the ones that.
Okay, because whatever was on here that I opened it stopped after.
Oh, okay.
So did mine.
Oh, I thought.
It
okay.
did.
All right.
If I may, Mr. Alexander, when we got Susan's report yesterday, her presentation, it was right at time to post, so we posted it in executive, and we couldn't change that. So Ms.
Okay.
Skype will email you the entire presentation tomorrow. Okay, so
Okay,
you'll
that's
have
good.
the entire presentation.
Good.
Okay.
All right, I was wondering about that when we got the email that said there were additional slides that had been added
Yeah.
that she sent. And I was thinking,
It's in that email.
maybe if it's
I
in
just saw it.
executive content, yeah, since it wasn't in public, it would be okay, but anyway, all right. Okay. All right. Is that all on that one? Everybody happy? So we'll move on to the next presentation, which is the Wickenburg Unified School District Communication presentation.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Me, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Alexander and Mr. Molly. You're online, so appreciate the ability to present to you and the board members and Dr. Remendini. Dr. Remendini asked me tonight if I would give you a summary of our communication plan. This is a working document for us, so know that if we have any suggestions or thoughts from you, we're happy to look at incorporating those in our plan. So the first thing that we look at with any communication is these steps. And it goes very quickly, but they are what we quickly look at. And what is the information that needs to be shared? Who the stakeholders are that need that information? What platform are we going to use to communicate it? And who's going to be the one to share that information? And then when will the information be shared? So we go through that process each time. Our stakeholders are these on the list: our students, our prospective students, our parents, our guardians, staff, the governing board members, and then the community. This is familiar stuff to you, but we're just reviewing it. The communication platforms that we use are Blackboard Connect. So that is a system we have in our computers that we use to communicate through email, text, and phone. It can send those generic messages. We have Synergy and Google Classroom that are used mainly by our upper grades. Class Dojo is used by our lower grades. We have district email, the websites, and then Facebooks. So different types of communication. I'm gonna just move mine. So we have student performances, and those we'll share like the grades and assignments, and we usually use Synergy Parent View and Student View for that. Our student learning, access to student assignments, Google Classroom grades 3 through 12, and that our goal is that weekly those parents would get that communication. Classroom information from the teachers, celebrations, events, and messages. We'll send those through Class Dojo for grades K through 8, and then Synergy and email for grades K through 12. So those are that, and then there's general messages that come from the school, and they will use district emails to send out things like the calendar, the events, updates, confidential or personal. Events and celebrations, school and district events and celebrations, student activities, the things that happen at the site, grade levels or group specific. We'll use newsletters, websites, social media, and Dojo. And I'm sure you've seen those in all from the schools. They all are great at using those different platforms. The school and district information that would contain calendar, events, general school and information would be on our school and district websites. So that's just general. Any questions on that so far? Okay, very general. So we go to emergency messaging. And so we use kind of the same platform. We're going to look at what the information about the threat or the crisis situation, what is that? Where it's coming from. Is it site specific or is it affecting district wide? And then how we're going to share that with Blackboard Connect, the websites or Facebook. Who would send those type of messages would be the superintendent secretary, which is Casey, IT, or HR communications. And so we determine who should send it, and then when. We try to send that out as soon as possible after the information has been reviewed and verified and vetted. This is an emergency templates that we have within the communication plan. So they're just some specific, quick little lines that they can send out for social media if something's happening, just to let the public know we're aware that something is going down and to guide them to where they should go, whether they need to go to the school or whether they're just going to sit on those platforms waiting for more information. So these are just a couple little quotes that are in the communication plan. And these would be things you would put on social media. So a big concern I know that you guys have as a board members is with social media and how are we responding to that and the things that happen there. And Susan mentioned some great things in her presentation that reflect also to the district and how we respond. So again, we look at what information needs to be shared, whether it comes from the site or the district, and how it's going to be shared, sorry, who's ever listening, district or the school Facebook page. We look at the site supervisor, the superintendent secretary, or HR communications for who should send that out. And if a response is applicable, we would respond as soon as possible after the information is reviewed again. One of our goals is to be authentic and transparent, so we don't look at trying to avoid them, but we do look at them very closely. So then this comes to this slide that shows kind of how we respond. So one of our first things we look at is if we can respond to them through an instant message. So this would not be a platform that would show to the public, but only to that individual. It would be a personal message to the person who has posted the original post. We would acknowledge their perspective and validate their thoughts, that they're having them. If information is incorrect, like the district has shared an incorrect date or an event is wrong, we would correct that information if we had misspoke. We would share any information that is needed to resolve their problem. We would direct the individual to proper channels that can help them solve the concern. And we would give facts, not opinions, like dates, policies, and excerpts from handbooks to help them. So that's what we would do when we see something, and we've done that many times and felt that to be very successful. That we've kind of taken down the emotion from the person that's kind of creating, but it wouldn't be something that the public would see or know about. We have, I don't think in any of my situations that I've used it has the person gone then on and posted and said, oh, the district's reached out to me, I'm fine now, we've got it all resolved, you know. We never get that, but we do see it kind of tempered down and get that response to them from them individually, like, thank you so much, I really appreciate that, I know where to go now. So that has been very effective. Now, if a post needs to be put on publicly, we use those same guidelines, and then you have a little quote, generic quote there too that can be used if we need to do something that just kind of tempers them for a moment and then gives them information later. And then our goal is always to follow up with a lot of positive district posts if we can, to kind of redirect that, the feeling, the mood, the mode, and kind of, as you know, on Facebook, it's just, it just changes so rapidly with what's moving, you know, whatever's, you know, coming up next is the next big thing. So there are times when we go dark on social media, when we don't say anything at all and we don't comment, and it would look, these are kind of the ways we look at that. When other community members have responded with accurate information. If a response will create fuel for more negative responses, we would look at that and not comment. A comment from the district or the school will not resolve the conversation. We try to ride out the conversation whenever possible to give it time to be replaced by something else. So we kind of watch it sometimes. If it's not something that looks like we need to respond to right away, we kind of like write it out and give it a little bit of time to see if it kind of dies out on its own. So that is the summary of what I have. I don't know if you have any suggestions or questions or ideas for us that we can kind of use in the communication plan. I don't know if Dr. Remendini would like to add anything, but yes, Sandy.
Okay, so when there is negative misinformation on Facebook, do people that are reading it ever contact the school and ask if it's factual, or ask for the policy, or what page in the handbook they might find the right information? Or do they just assume that this person writing it on social media knows what they're talking about?
Hey, it's on the computer.
So your question is, does the person that's posting ever reach out?
No, the people that are reading it. Say, I mean,
Oh,
when I see
oh.
the post on there and I know it's wrong,
Yeah.
you know, just my blood little boils, but I don't comment, I don't say anything. But what I'm saying is, okay, I see this post and I know what's on there is totally wrong. Does that person, like, not me, because I am, but I'm Mary Jane. Does Mary Jane then contact the school and say, you know, I just read this on Facebook, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Is this a true statement, or, you know, can you give me more information on it? I mean, does anybody look for the truth?
It's an awesome question. But I'm going to say it does happen at times, Sandy, yes. That you'll see someone that'll reach out to the school or the district. Casey gets calls about that kind of stuff. We know, we hear on our end. And
get
I believe
asked.
the schools do too.
Well,
Whether
you
the
have a
person that's
whole different
posting
group.
does, I would say they don't very often, but we'll see. It's most people that go to Facebook for their information are not reaching out to the school, but I think it does happen. I think we have it happen that they reach out. We wish they'd do it more, and that's the
Right.
goal for communication, is hopefully we can have them do it more.
And I guess that's what I'm saying is, I don't take Facebook as gospel. I mean, people can put whatever they want on there. And I guess my thing is I hope most people understand that it's just opinions, it's just what people are saying.
Yep.
And, if they really care, that they reach out and try to get the truth of what.
And I think that's
Yeah.
why in our communication plan, we kind of proceed with caution a little bit
Right.
on Facebook, because you can get caught in it not being productive.
Right.
So.
And I totally agree. That, and let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. So Mary Jo posts this thing, and you send them a message telling them that some of the information they posted is incorrect, and then do you clarify what was incorrect, or do you ask them to call you, but you are reaching out to that person and letting them know that what they're posting is incorrect.
Yeah, that would
am
be
I
one of
following that?
the reasons to, or some of, that would be a response, yes, is that you're like, hey, there was one time, like I sent a little handbook clip, that just shared, just want you to be aware this is the information from the handbook. It might help guide you in your thoughts that you're having on this. It's not really like, you don't want to start engaging back and forth,
No.
but just kind of adding more information. Usually it's a lack of information. And they, like you say, Sandy, they just don't want to go to the source to get it.
Right.
They're making an assumption on social media.
No, I
But,
agree. Back and forth.
But yeah, and just like there's been a few times, and I don't know if Casey has more she can add, but I've just reached out and just say, were you able to resolve this? Did you reach out to the principal, and were you able to get some resolution? Just so that they know we're seeing the post, we're
Right.
aware of the post, but
Right.
it's not going to get solved there.
Yeah, so,
Randy, did you have a question?
yeah, I think one of the things that spawned this presentation was the response time of possibly emergency situations, things like that, that we actually saw the messages and people upset because they had not received information from the district about their child in a school that maybe had a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was already posted on social media before the parents heard anything. So I think we need to clarify or look into the as soon as possible for contact.
Dr. Remendini can probably speak to this too, but sometimes our pause, and you guys know this, is because of the nature of it. And so we're not allowed to respond yet because of the nature of the threat. And with it being with kids with all their cell phones, sorry, all their cell phones, kids actually can tell their parents way before
Right.
we even get it, like it's true. It can most definitely get to the community before we can, because of the cell phone
And
capacity.
that's how the whole thing just explodes on the
Yep.
social media.
Yep.
Before,
Yep.
I know we had one back several months ago that everybody was upset. And then they said, well, we didn't, and we found out that the letters to the parents went out almost after school or at the end of the school day.
So,
It's a
It
good
just
point.
upsets things.
yeah, Mr. Hodges, if I do think I remember that situation, and that was part of the, we've been working on a communication plan for about a year now in the district, and Valerie began this with saying it's a work in progress. We update it, we change it. And I think I remember the situation. I could be talking about another one, but we recognized that the staff that is dealing with the crises, the lockdown, is also the one that's expected to do the communication. So we added in that extra layer of Casey and Valerie and me to help with that communication, because the principal probably knows their community best, and we very clarified where does this message go, and trying to train our parents, go get this message from one singular place, but recognizing that when you have a limited office staff and you're in a lockdown, they're not able to communicate either. So kind of closing the gap on some of those and making sure that we can provide assistance either from my office or from the neighboring school's office, and get that information out as soon as possible, as soon as we're allowed to from the police department. And that was one delay that we had at one point. Got a call from Wickenburg Police Department asking us to wait on the information until they clarified what was actually going on. And it wasn't a lockdown, but it was a situation in the neighborhood. So, just kind of trying to get it out. So, yeah. And continuously working to improve, always. Yeah.
Yeah,
Full-
keeping
full
kids
proof.
safe.
Yeah, so, totally. Yeah.
Making sure the kids are safe goes
First.
first, and then communicate. So it, the way that we're perceived, or anyone is perceived by the public, is never fast enough these days. It needs to be instant. But point taken, Randy, that we will work at being as fast as possible, and know that that is your goal, that we respond just as quickly as we can.
I
So
know the biggest one on the Facebook is the Wickenburg Bulletin Board, where the parents want to put it out there right away. And that's the one that everybody in town probably has that Wickenburg Bulletin Board. And
But to Valerie's point and to Barbara's point, you don't want to get the information out there and then it not be the
Oh, I
correct
understand it,
information,
yeah.
and just stir the
Right.
pot for something that's not necessary. So, yes, like you said, I mean, everything's instant,
It is.
it's hard to compete with, but we do our best.
It truly is. I mean, people know things before you know them. But I understand the reasoning too, and with the police department as well, is you don't want to go throw something out there and panic people
Oh, I understand.
until you have all the correct information. So, I think we have to just balance what they want and what needs to come out when it needs to come out.
Susan, did you have any questions or anything? No? I need, Joe, did you have any questions?
You went to sleep.
No question on my end. I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other comments?
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Valerie.
I want to thank each of you. We're so glad we have an amazing board. So thank you, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You too.
Just keep communicating.
Got it.
My favorite word, communication.
Okay. The principal's report from Vulture Peak.
Good evening, President Malio, members of the board, Dr. Mendini. Thanks for having me.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was used to presentations and I was just waiting for her to start.
It's all you. I'm just here to answer
Okay.
questions, so
We'll
ask
start with Susan.
away.
Oh, don't start with Susan.
Don't start with you? Okay. Randy?
Okay. Good report, of course. I love the information put on all the activities going on. A lot of pictures this time. That was good. Really helps me not have to read through everything. Just look at the pictures there.
There's a lot of words in
Uh,
there.
One thing a little disappointing was the Galileo.
Yeah, can I
information
speak to
there.
that?
Sure.
So when I put the presentation together, we had just finished the second benchmark, like just had finished, and we hadn't like the staff hadn't even dug into it. We hadn't had like I spent that whole weekend like looking at stuff, and one of the biggest conclusions we came to, our Galileo is not set to our pacing calendar, so it's not testing what the kids have already learned. That it's testing what they're going to learn. So the gap got bigger because the test had more test questions of things they hadn't learned, if that makes sense. So what we did do as a staff is we looked at growth. And when you go and look at our growth, we actually had positive growth in every single solitary class except one 6th grade class and one science class. All the rest of the classes had positive growth. So that was a very good thing. So that wasn't in here because we didn't dig into that until this last PD last Friday. I included the IXL data because what IXL does is do real time, what's happening right now. It assesses what are we teaching right this minute, what are the kids working on, and what have they learned. If you might have noticed that, those are going up, those are trending up. So I know when you look at all the red, I even like, oh my goodness. And then when we started digging in and looking at like, why do we have so many that are minimally proficient? It's because we're testing something that hasn't been taught. It's really not a good predictor. Like if they were to take the test today, obviously they wouldn't do very well because they haven't been taught the material. The IXL, and we're also looking at some ways to align better where we are testing them, which we're doing in the classrooms, obviously, but to align that data to what we're actually real time presenting in class. So I hope that helps a little bit to understand because, yeah, when you look at that, it was very like, wow, that's way more red than I'd like to see.
Yeah.
But then when we broke it down kid by kid, what are the standards we've already taught? How did they do on those standards? Then we eliminated all the ones that we'd already taught. How'd they do? What are the standards we need to focus on? So that's what we did this past Friday, and it was a very good, positive conversation.
How long have we been doing Galileo?
Forever.
For quite a
We
while.
just
We've
now
actually had
realized
some
we're testing the
conversations.
kids for things they didn't get taught.
If I may, Ms. Gill, that is what Galileo is for. It's a predictive measure, and so it's always done this. It is always aligned to test all of the standards for the year, each benchmark, and so we use it for exactly what Ms. Davy described. As we pull that up and kind of take a look at what do we need to spend more time on. And they should be analyzing, all the teachers should be analyzing which standards we tested that they actually taught, and then knowing going into it before we're teaching it what they're going to have to spend some more time on because there's no background knowledge or there's no pre-knowledge. So Galileo's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Ms. Davy mentioned the IXL data, which is a little bit more real time. So we have all different types of measures of academic performance. But Galileo is one measure that we look at overall district-wide. How are we doing in teaching what we're doing? So we should see that red get smaller and smaller throughout the year because we're giving the same type of assessment throughout the year, testing, and then it gets more and more of them have been taught as we go through.
Which is why we look at the growth points, which is, we did have, like I said, we had positive growth points. So we are going up in that area. So that was the positive.
Okay. And okay, I have one other thing, and a big plus to the working towards the parent involvement.
Yes,
I thought that's a big.
we've really focused on that this year.
Throughout the year, we see these surveys and everything. What do you have? 10%, 9% of parents. Getting involved in just answering surveys and things. But, if they get involved with school activities, things like that, I think they'll see a little differently when they start, responding to surveys and stuff.
That's our hope.
Glad you're working on that.
Thank you.
That was one of the things that I had on my paper as well. You know how much I love to talk about parents need to be involved with their children. Minus all the red, there was some real positive green. in here, you know, when, I was looking at these and, where it was here, where, almost 60% of the kids were proficient or highly proficient in English. And I thought that was great. It was, so the 6 and the 7, is that for 6th grade and 7th grade? Is that what those numbers behind the?
So
what
it'll
does that
say
mean? The group 6, group
English 6, is that what you're talking about? It says English
Yeah.
6, and then the teacher and the number, that's like the period of the
day.
class.
Second period.
So
okay.
we have 2
Okay.
sections of every grade.
Mhm.
Okay, so obviously in this one, the sixth period does way better than this one.
And we also have our students grouped according, in some areas, ability, right? And so that wasn't not a surprise. And what I told you, well, there was one English class, which was that 6th grade English class, and then one of the science classes. So
Well, I'm just so happy to see positive.
Mhm.
It just makes me happy.
we're doing a lot of good things.
And I'm also happy, you know, to hear you say that you're grouping, because I think that's highly important. You know, just the way you teach to the group and stuff. I mean, I'm all for that. I just think that's really an important thing. And you're going to explain IXL in a minute. I have it written down here. The other thing I saw was nice decline from August to November in your discipline.
Discipline
So
has been wonderful
I was
this
really,
year.
really happy about that. Disappointed in that we had they're middle schoolers that, and there was only 1 or 2 or 3, you know, not a whole group, but at that age there would be theft or smoking and vaping. I hate to see what's like high school kids are doing trickling down into the middle school. You know, maybe they have older brothers or sisters that do
That's
it
a
or
lot of
whatever.
it, and sometimes it's the same person more than once. So
Oh, okay, well, that's
it
good
may
to know,
look
too.
like there's several, but sometimes it's the same person more than once.
Yeah, and the bullying assembly, I mean, did it have any impact?
The kindness. So that's something it's obviously we're going to see long term. And what I love about it is we're still following up with it. And for example, I had some kids today that were, you know, being middle school boys, and one of the, you know, conversations is, you know, was that kind for you to do that? Is that it? So now we can bring that into the conversation, and when we're talking to kids, like, okay, what's a better way you can do that? So it wasn't just like, hey, we had this assembly and hope everybody got it. It was, we used it as almost a springboard to have more conversations with the kids, deeper conversations, to continue to circle back to that. So I'm hoping, like, it's not going to change overnight, but we're building a culture, and so we're going to continue to circle back to that.
But you do feel like some of the presentation kind of trickled into their brains?
Oh, absolutely. And we had some really good positive feedback. I talked to quite a few of the kids, teachers, talked to parents whose kids talked about it. I think it was a really good positive, and we're going to just, like I said, we're going to continue. We're going to saturate. We're going to keep using those positive message. I mean, our whole choose happy, and we're building. So like this morning was choose happy, be kind. I mean, those are things we're going to just keep saying and keep doing.
Okay. Well, that's good, because I like kids to be happy and kind. And kudos to the kids that helped with the lab and the cancer walk.
Yes, they were wonderful.
Happy about that. And then the parent engagement, that was thing. So we're seeing a little bit more positive parent engagement.
I hope so, but I hope so. That's our plan.
Okay.
We still, I mean, I still, like, we had a great open house. We had a lot of parents there. I don't even know if I put that in there. And so again, yeah, I think I just made a blur, but we had a really good positive feedback for that. So we're going to make it even bigger in March when we have our next one. And again, just all these opportunities for parents to come in and meet with us, see us, whatever we can do.
Gotta get those parents because it takes a village.
And we get the kids involved. So whenever we have a parent event, we have kids leading it or involved in it, talking to the parents. I think that's really important too. It's good for the kids, good for the parents.
Okay. Great.
You done? Okay.
Did I do anything?
Huh? No. I know I did have a question, and it's really it's not part of your report, but do you see, and obviously we see a huge difference in referrals from August to now, which is great. Do you see a difference in students in general with going to the pods, methodology where the grades are all, in those pods?
Oh, are you talking about how we're keeping the kids more? Yes, that's been a very positive, and I don't know if you notice, our schedules are different. So instead of the bell ringing and everybody moves at once, it's a very orderly, okay, 6th grade is now swapping their 2 sections, or 7th grade. There's not a lot of chaos. And so that also, we go from one class to the next, we sit down, we get to work. That's been I think that's made a huge difference in the campus. If you walk, I don't know how often, if you ever walk around the campus, it's really nice and quiet and calm. I hate to use those words sometimes, but it really is. There's just a good feel about it when you walk around the campus.
That's good. That's all I had.
That's all you had? Okay. IXL data. Okay, just if you can go to that, one of the questions that I had on that, besides what is it, and in the pre-board call with Barbara, I got that kind of straightened out. But on the progress and growth chart, the table, there's science doesn't have any of the diagnostic growth.
So we do not use IXL to test science growth. We use it as a supplement to the curriculum, but we don't use it to assess students. So we use it for the ELA and for the math, but not for the science.
Why would you not use it for the science?
We actually, until this past year, we really didn't use it at all. Like IXL in science wasn't used a whole lot, so we started using it last year. They're using a little bit more this year because we're doing it with interventions. So I don't think it's something that we've integrated in like we have with the ELA and math. So eventually we may get there to where we're using it as an assessment tool, but right now, because it's fairly new to us, we're not really using it as an assessment. We're using it as a supplement to the material that they're teaching. And what's nice about IXL, you get to choose exactly what areas you want the kids to be working on. And they get what's called a code. And so the kids go on, they put that code in, it pulls up those criteria that they're working on, or that standard they're working on.
And they have to keep reviewing it. Riley did this at Hacienda. Hacienda does it too. And they have to keep reviewing something until they master it.
Yeah, they have to get to 80% before they can be done. So what it does is it just keeps repeating those skills over and over. So you can see where in math and ELA, it's a really powerful, especially math. I sit down with the kids every day and work with them in their IXL, and it just keeps doing it over and over and over till you get it.
And the kids can do it at home too. They don't have to.
Which they do.
At school. Yeah.
So do they have assignment to do so much on IXL for a day or whatever?
Yes, they'll be given so many codes a week that they have to complete.
Okay.
So they'll do part of it in class, they can do it, like she said, at home, they can do it during enrichment, in intervention time. The students that are doing intervention, sometimes they have specific codes, so if they need extra help with integers, they'll give them a code that gives them extra practice in integers, or if they need a part of speech or whatever it is, they can give them that specific code, which is why we like IXL. You can narrow down, you give it to the student, and they just keep practicing and practicing, and they can go above the 80, but a lot of them, they'll hit the 80 and be like, okay, yay, I got there and I'm good. And And then it'll even like you get 80, and if you keep going, some of them, because if you keep going, it could actually drop your score. So sometimes when they hit the 80, they'll be like, okay, I'm good, I got there. So it's a really, really good tool, and it's very, it measures immediately what are we doing, what are we working on.
Okay, great. The one question I have, I guess it would kind of fall under a safety and security area,
Mhm.
is the one where you have students, you know, how'd you say it? Your algebra students walk over to the high school to participate in Algebra 1 class.
Mhm.
Do you have a tracking system to know that they actually went to class?
Well, they take attendance, and they call us. They're like, hey, so-and-so, so-and-so's not here. They take attendance.
Okay,
The algebra students go there first thing in the morning, so I think 3 of them walk over, and the other one is dropped off because that's their first
Okay.
class. The band students are in the middle of the day, so they start with us, and then they go over there, and then they come back. So
so if somebody isn't there, then that teacher will call and,
yeah, hey, we're
Ask.
missing somebody. Yeah, so-and-so. Yeah, they take attendance. So,
okay.
yeah.
I just have a concern about students that are loose. I mean, where there's, no tracking system for them that they can, but I know, I did
I know,
things, I did things
I
like
get it,
this
I
when I
get-
was
they're
in school.
kids,
So
yeah.
I know a lot of the tricks, but, yeah, they just kind of wander off and go, okay, let's go downtown here or something. So, okay. That's all I have. Joe, you have any questions or comments?
I do not. I'm kind of keeping my eye on this IXL. I think it seems like it's going to be a great benefit to us. So just keep my eye on that. And thank you for the report, Anne Marie.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up is Mark with the high school report.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Mini.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I keep waiting for somebody to start talking.
Yeah,
I was going to
Who
call
wants
on
to,
somebody.
Sandy, you want to start?
No.
No? Susan?
Hmm.
No? Randy, you're
Okay.
prepared. Go ahead.
All right, good report as usual, Mark. I love all the, what I really want is you to let all your assistants, all your teachers know that we recognize all their input to this report. It makes it just so much more easy to understand. You're getting stuff from all the classrooms, all your activities, everything that's going on there. It's just amazing. I really don't have to look for anything to ask about. It's all right there. So very good report.
I'll let him know.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
I was going to say the same. Like, I think the report's amazing. There's so much more information than I think we've ever gotten in one of your reports. I mean, it is. And more pictures and more, activities going on that we're hearing about that we don't always know about. So I think it's great, and I'm excited to see all this.
Okay.
Thank you.
The Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. Okay, to all junior students, so do all the kids take it, or do they voluntarily?
They all take it.
Okay.
It's not really mandatory though, so if somebody were to want to opt out, if a family wanted that, they could, but to my knowledge, we didn't have anyone that did that though.
Okay. What else did I have down there? Oh, I think it's great that Vicky's building up the band.
Yeah.
I think that's marvelous, and that we have the kids from the Vulture Peak going up there, and saw them at halftime at the football game, and I just really think she's worked hard and deserves some recognition. And I was going to congratulate Rachel for her grants. I think she's done a fabulous job with JAG.
Yeah, great.
And the FFA, and I see Westmec, it went from 5 kids to 20 kids going to Westmec.
Yeah, that's the applications. So
Okay.
every year they have to apply. I think it's by sometime in about the first of the year, and then Westmec reviews applications, obviously, that come in to them across the entire West Valley, and then they will, take students into the various programs that depending on space and so forth. But we usually have just had a handful of kids that have applied for them. This year we've exceeded 20 at last count. I think we were at something like 24. So that's applications, of course, but more applications should lead to more that are going there as well.
Right. I think, well, I think also, you're looking at kind of trade type things, whether it be cosmetology or aviation mechanics or whatever, and I think more kids are starting to find interest in those things and realize they don't have to go to college, that there are other things that they can build on. So I think that's good. I mean, that's a good thing. And your programs, the construction, the masonry, I just really thought that was cool too, all the different things.
The construction days that they went to there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. And
yeah, they go to that every year, and they always, they come back wearing their hard hats and everything. But it's a great opportunity for them to get out and, see all the different, opportunities that there are, like in that construction trade.
Right. So. No, overall, I was happy with if we just get these kids to test better, we'll be okay.
Yeah, they don't care.
Could I just add one a question about the Westmec? You said those were applications, so do we have any of the students that are actually take part of their school day that are going off to Westmec for some of those classes?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we have around 4 or 5 of them, I believe, that are going down there right now.
Okay.
Of course, all the applications are for new. Those are mostly sophomores that are applying to go down there as juniors and seniors.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay, the after-school program,
Yes.
how many students participate in that? Is it
It varies by day because after school there are different activities that are going on. Of course, part of that program is the athletic programs that are happening, but part of it is tutoring. There's clubs that meet, and so it varies by day.
No, I'm thinking more of the
average number.
Of the tutoring side of the educational side of it, rather than the clubs or the sports or something.
And again, it can vary because we may have a math tutoring in the afternoon, and there could be 10 or 15 kids that show up to it. And then the next day there's not math tutoring, but there's English or science tutoring, and again, those are different kids. And then there's different teachers that are doing it. Average numbers probably around 40-ish a day.
A day? Yeah. Just for the educational side?
On the educational side,
okay.
Or educational / clubs, let's say
okay.
that. There are some clubs like culinary, or not culinary, but let's see, it's esports is one of them as an example, and there are 5 or so kids that come in on that, and it's twice a week. So there's opportunities like that mix in.
Okay. Well, as Randy said, I always like your report because it's information is written out and understandable, and it covers pretty much everything, in school, which I like to see. One other thing, the FFA, should have mentioned this when we were doing recognitions and proclamations, is their performance at the national convention. So I was glad to see that. And I like the fact that we have an FFA program now. And between them and the JAG, I just, I really like those aspects of what they do for the kids in leadership and just training in things other than, more hands-on, training. So.
Yeah, there's the whole CTE umbrella offers so many different opportunities for kids
Right.
down the road, and they don't all need to go to college or have to go to college. Many of them can make as good or better money working in these CTE fields or these careers out there. So that there's great opportunity, and so all of these help to feed them into those career pathways down the road, and gives them something that they're interested in.
Yeah, well, I think it's great, and even if they don't go to one of those paths there and go ahead and go to college, but it's just that background knowledge that they obtain through those programs is, I think, is really great.
I mean, first of all, thank you all I know you had to had the special meeting, allow a couple of extras to go, but when they get to those type of things that they're doing, like with the ag or that JAG do, it goes well beyond even the content of what they're teaching or learning. It's the communication skills, it's critical thinking skills, it's the collaboration that they have, it's the opportunity to engage with others that are doing something similar from outside of our community. So, there's so much more to it than that.
Do they, like the FFA got people that went, do they come back and then give a presentation to the rest of the FFA group?
That I'm not certain on. They are going to be presenting to us, and they're going to be coming here in February to present to you on how that went.
Okay,
so that's what we have informed them.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking of is when we have groups go out like that, that it might be nice just and I don't for them to build a joint presentation, something and come and actually give us a presentation on what they did and what we funded.
That is planned.
Does anyone ever come back, a year or two later or whatever, and come back and say, getting involved in FFA really was great. I'm glad I had the opportunity, or, being in JAG or being in sports medicine or whatever these other things might be. Do we ever?
Well, interestingly,
come back and say, "Hey, that was really great."
Yeah, I did talk to a couple of individuals at one of our games that were part of JAG and have since graduated, and they really love the fact that we had that opportunity for them, and I think one of them more so than the other was really talking about how he felt like that's what really helped him to get over the hump and actually graduate. So
wow, that's great. See, I love.
I do think it's there,
too.
and I think it happens more than what I even hear too. They come back and talk to their teacher, or and occasionally we'll hear back from them, but yes, that does happen.
I always love positive.
Okay,
I'm done.
Anybody else here? Any comments? Joe, do you have anything?
Well, I just wanted to step in and compliment Mark, just like a lot of the other board members already have. The report is just so inclusive, and I like the fact that, I don't like the fact that we're short on staff, but I like the fact that it's mentioned in here how you're getting them, who you're getting, and how you're spreading the duties out, that type of thing. And I understand you're not writing these, you told me last month or last time you did a board report, but having these people do this to just put this right into what's going on in these different subjects. So that's a great thing. And I'm all a fan, because the first time I saw this word, I went back to it twice and then 3 times. Jagapalooza, gotta love it.
Definitely.
Do some Jagapalooza.
We'll have to see if that's in Webster's.
But anyway, great report, and so we're going to talk about that Jagapalooza. It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you know, it was a great day. We're looking at doing something similar to that in the spring, more as a recruiting opportunity for JAG. And so, yeah, that it's just a one time a year piece, but we're looking at a spring one, and we're going to incorporate. I don't know if Ron remembers this or not, but he mentioned how we have some of these things that in the evening that are tied into like colleges, and but do we have some of the, I think it's more that career technical sort of piece, and so we're looking at how we can get those speakers to maybe come in and talk during that event in the spring. So just to tie into something that was brought up earlier in the school year.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be great. Because the JAG program is fantastic, but I'm all done and I appreciate it, Mark. Great report.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Weckenberg Virtual Academy.
Good evening.
Okay, I won't wait for the presentation
Okay.
to start.
Third time we got it.
Who wants to start asking questions?
I'll go first
Okay.
this time. I just have a question. What is animal systems?
You know, it is literally what it says. So they study the different structures of small and large animals, and kids think it's going to be like a super cool biology class, and it's a lot of terms and a lot of medical terms applied to the animal systems, and it's not as exciting as I think it's going to be. But it does expose them to new knowledge.
That's cool. That's very different. Yeah, I mean, I think there's not a lot that you can tell us because you're a virtual academy and you're working hard, it seems, at communication. So that's great.
That we are, yes.
And I love seeing students involved in extracurriculars, even though they're virtual. So that's always great too. So good job. Sandy?
Yes. I was looking at your, Miss Graves lady, your passing and how it's gone up.
With our block.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah, we were very pleased with our preliminary results. So again, those will be averaged as we finish out this second block and see and get a true understanding. But initially, all 3 out of the 4 areas, we did have improvement in our pass rate, which is step 1, getting kids to pass classes, and then step 2, making sure they're retaining the information.
So in reading this, where some kids have dropped out, decided homeschooling is better for them or whatever, they don't get on the computer, they're really not engaging, they're just kind of in a virtual academy, so they don't have to show up at school. So eventually those kids are dropped.
So the students that left us if the parents chose to do homeschool, they have to register, of course, with the state and do the requirements for the state. The unfortunate part for me, anyways, if they choose to come back to our program, they didn't really earn any credits from an accredited, like Mark's going through accreditation right now. And so they got real world experiences and some academics, but then they basically have a gap in their credits to still graduate high school. So then they're a little bit behind. But I don't know that if they chose that they will come back to us or not. So it's very new, the push for homeschool and going between homeschooling and online is very new for all of us to navigate. So I just don't know what that's going to look like yet. But we do have students that come to us who were parents did a homeschool program or a different online program, and they're like, we need more structure, we need more accountability, not from the parent, but from the school. And so then they like the way we have ours structured and the overbearing communication and nagging that we do to our students and parents. So, it kind of just depends what fits each family.
Right. There was something else I had here and I forgot what it was. I thought it was cool that, you know, you had kids that are participating in things at the high school with
Mhm.
football and, because usually a lot of the kids in the virtual academy are ropers
Yes,
or involved
right,
in rodeo
right.
or whatever, so it was kind of nice to see two of them be in the play and, be part of the football team.
And we're actually down a little bit. Like last year, we had, I think, 5 football players and 3 that were in the theater and spring and fall performances. And so, with our population numbers being down, the students that are participating in activities are down as well. It's a direct correlation, but we're always pushing it because we do know that when students are engaged in activities outside of the classroom, it's how we keep them in school. So we're continuously pushing, hey, there's this opportunity, there's that opportunity.
So they can, even though they're doing virtual, they can come in and work in the classroom?
Yeah, so today, I was telling Mark, we actually had 10 students in the lab for most of the day working because, and most of them were 9th and 10th graders, and they're struggling with learning the balance of procrastination versus accountability. And so they're struggling a little bit. So we're like, hey, come and work with us a couple of days a week. Let us help you set daily goals and line it out. So we had 10 kids in there working all day today. And so it's kind of fun, you know, getting to see a face that's behind a screen, and then the teachers get to meet their students in person and have, hi, how are you? I'm Mr. So-and-so. And it was a pretty good day.
That's good. And the good part too is that they realized they needed to come in.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
that something clicked that said, you know what, this isn't working.
Right.
I need to go in, I need to work and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good because I personally don't think a lot of people can do
Right. For
online
sure. For sure.
and really succeed at it.
Right.
Okay, good report for the activities here. You said that thing about the procrastination. I've always been wanting to come in and teach procrastination, but I never got around to it. So
You had to know that was
He was
coming.
waiting to say that.
I did. I really had.
You had that one keyed in.
But I like that, seeing the number of students you got doing some internships.
Mm-hmm.
I just maybe a question: what type of work are they out? It is for jobs in town that they're
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So, you know, they're working in restaurants. They're working for a local plumbing company and a local electrical company. They're working for a medical office in Surprise because they live that side of the community. And so it's a broad range of internships, and they're not. If they're working for a family company, their supervisor has to not be a parent, so there's some accountability with that as well.
Cool. Good,
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I like to see that. You know, 50 years ago, I was in a work release program through the school, and I actually got graduated early because
Oh,
of,
because of that.
you know internship and stuff
Mhm,
like that. So I like to see that. And 19 students, I guess that that's
Yeah.
pretty good for the amount there at the.
So when you see students out in the community in the middle of the day and you think they should be in school, well, they
Yeah,
might be in
right.
school, but they're online and they're doing
Right.
their internship in the daytime.
Right. Good. Good. Yeah. The other question and the shout outs. Is there only one student in the virtual academy that's going off to West Mech?
Correct. We have
Okay.
one senior this year in the vet tech program, and which is surprising because going to West Mech every day is taxing and challenging, and they have to travel, you know,
Right.
to Surprise, to North Phoenix, and so. And then they come back and then they have to attend high school or they have to leave partway through the day. And so typically we've had higher numbers who have been West Mech students that we share with the high school. And so there are a couple of students that they take more of their day at the high school and then they're doing West Mech and they're picking up classes with us online to get all the pieces that they need to graduate. So we share some of those students as well.
Okay. Good. All right. That's all I got. Thanks, Colleen.
Yep.
You just said something that made a question pop into my head. So they can go to the high school
Mm-hmm.
and take classes
Mm-hmm.
and do virtual academy. They
If-
can do both.
If they're deficient in credits. So
Oh.
they have to be full-time at the high school. They've got their 6 periods, and they have a gap here and there to be able to graduate on time. So then they will take additional classes through us outside of their full scheduled day to make up those credits.
That's your concurrence.
Correct, concurrence, yes.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's what I
Yep.
figured, but,
Yeah.
you know, I always like things explained to me. I
Yes.
used to assume,
right,
you know.
yes.
this would- Okay.
Okay, the new offerings that you have here, are those electives?
Correct.
All of those are electives? Okay.
Correct. And
We-
some of them meet the CTE requirement or the fine arts requirement because we don't have teachers that can come in, we don't have anybody teaching sports med or film and media.
But the personal finance,
Mhm.
isn't that a requirement for graduation or something of having some kind of financial class? No?
Not currently.
Should be.
I thought there was a requirement for,
I just said you're on work release from school.
Economics is a required course at the high school, that's probably, but there's no requirement for finance.
for personal, okay. I thought
It's a seal we can put on diplomas as to highlight that they have that skill set, and the state recommends that schools that offer personal finance to do that, but
Okay.
currently it's not a graduation requirement.
Okay, all right.
So I'm kind of pushing that a little bit on some juniors and seniors that need it, and they're like, oh, I don't want to take a math class. I'm like, oh, but you're going to want to be able to pay your bills and your mortgage and figure out where all your money's going in taxes, so it's a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. On the internships, do the supervisors provide a report back to you on their
Yes.
performance and everything?
Yes, they do a midterm evaluation and then end of semester evaluation. They have to sign off on, like, they rate them based on, like, their skill sets, employability skills, and then they also provide feedback.
Okay. Do they get paid while they're doing this?
They can.
Okay.
Some are volunteer, some are paid positions.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's all I have. Joe, do you have anything?
No, sir, I'm all good. You've got everything covered. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on here. Okay, call to the public, don't have any that. Okay, the consent agenda. Does anybody need anything removed from the consent agenda? Everybody good? Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items for, let's call
November
it November 21st,
20, yeah.
2023 is submitted.
Second.
Sandy seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, action items. Ms. Johnson.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Bernardini. Thank you for having me this evening. In front of you is the financial report for the month of October. As you can see, we are trending well. No big changes from last month, except for, of course, we have a few more expenditures, but nothing outrageous, no big jump. So we are trending well. I'm happy to say that those capital funds are beginning to get spent more and more. We've kind of been on hold for a couple of years just with delay in products and workforce to get some things done. And so some things have rolled from year to year. So that current year to date is definitely trending up, especially compared to last year in the capital fund. So our budget balances are positive. We are in compliance, and there are no surprises to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, you get a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make the motion to approve the financial report as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next one, the first reading of policy. Any questions, comments, whatever on that? Okay. Okay, we want to change the date of the January meeting because of the policy that came out that we do not have to have our organizational meeting done before the 15th of October or 15th of January. We can change the date to the 16th, which would be the normal third Tuesday. Okay. Any thoughts, questions, concerns on that? Okay. Can you get a motion to approve the changing the meeting to the 16th of January?
I'll make the motion to change the date of the January 2024 Wickenburg Unified School District Governing Board regular meeting from January 9th, 2024 to January 16th, 2024, as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay. All right, next is the, what is this? Oh, the delegate
Sandy.
to, at the annual conference. Who's going to go to the annual conference?
Sandy is gonna be there. I
You-
was gonna be there too, but I have to go to Texas
Okay.
for work.
Okay,
Aaron, I'll come see you.
okay, so,
Sounds like a plan.
so Sandy
I'll-
will be the delegate to vote for us. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve Sandy as our delegate?
I'll make the motion to approve Sandra Gill as the Wickenburg Unified School District's delegate to vote on the Arizona School Board Association's officers on December 7th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, it passes.
Nay.
No, I didn't ask for that.
The ayes have it. The ayes have it.
Okay, any items for future agendas? Nothing heard from anyone? Okay. All right, there you have all the announcements and the calendars there for Casey puts together for us. Any questions or thoughts about that? Nope. Okay. All right. Next one. What?
I
Did you
move
have
to
something? Okay. The next one is the motion to
I
adjourn.
move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. This was a worthwhile meeting. It was longer than it took me to drive here.
Yay!